Hello, and welcome to the North Star podcast. We are a collective of journalists looking to highlight student leadership on campus and how these groups benefit the greater community of Keene State College. There are 4 groups that we will cover today, starting with multiculturalism and how they have been organizing. Additionally, we will focus on the KSC Aspire tutoring program, the KSC Eco Reps, and round things out with our very own Keene State student government. Thank you for joining us today, and for the North Star, I'm Rowan Hurd.
And I'm Anna Ruth.
And I'm Alex Dube.
And I'm Harrison Paletta. Student leadership on the campus of Keene State College takes shape in many forms. The COVID-19 pandemic led to another evolution of on-campus leadership, especially within minority groups. The Common Ground Multiculturalism group dissolved last year as a result of the pandemic. Rowan Hurd talks to Hunter Kirshner, Program Support Assistant for LGBTQ students for the Multiculturalism Office at Keene State College, to see how leadership is evolving.
The Common Ground Group's mission was to create a space in which minority groups can share, celebrate, and find commonality, and to ultimately unlearn the oppressive lessons taught to our society.
And so in thinking about agency, right, is this ability to do, the ability to do the things we want to do. And so I think often for folks with minoritized identities, that actually we are taught and conditioned really hard to not to bring our full selves into spaces for lots of reasons, right? To get along, right? Compliance, safety, and so for Common Ground, right? I think, right, of really trying to challenge those lessons and trying to work on that unlearning and really, right, again, like having pride, right, being able to celebrate and share, right?
After hearing what Hunter had to say about having agency over not only yourself, but just as importantly, the environment and ultimately the community you are a part of, I wanted to talk to somebody who is finding themselves and finding community that makes them feel seen. Julia Stearns is a KSC freshman, double majoring in multiculturalism and diversity, as well as film.
When I first, I realized that I wanted to do film and I wanted to do production, stuff like that, I was like, oh yes, this is exactly what I want to do. But I grew up in Massachusetts, which, especially in the town I'm from, is very diverse. A really diverse community. Obviously, I grew up in a very diverse family. But just growing up watching, different, movies and TV shows, I wasn't seeing a lot of, heavily, a larger Asian cast, this is our entire cast, and they're all Asian people. And it was always, here's some white people, and here's a black person, here's a Hispanic person. Oh, and here's our one Asian person who is, our fun comic relief that we have around sometimes. And I was like, why can't we have them around all the time? I want to see people who now don't necessarily look like me, but have the same background as me. So I can look at them and oh yeah, I relate to you. And understand this problem that you're having, or this thing that you face. I understand that because I've lived that and I've experienced that.
Julia, who identifies as Filipino American, is actively questioning the status quo of the film industry and doing her part to dismantle the tokenization of people that she identifies with. Julia, whether she knows it or not, is a leader. Hunter is the advisor to the KSC Pride student group. He says that organizing is not as straightforward as it seems.
And I think for a lot of people, there is not a place that totally meets all of our needs or the things that we're trying to accomplish in the given structures. And so, right, wanting to create spaces, that center particular values or identities, identities or purpose. And so in creating that, right, even just thinking about starting a group or pulling people together and building those relationships, I think, and being able to set your own terms and say, this is what we're about, this is what's important to us. Perhaps, right, students are coming to college already having some of those experiences. And I would imagine that most students have not had an opportunity to do that, have much more been in a role of a follower or a member, right, of a group. And so being able to step into those kinds of leadership positions, I think particularly on a college campus, because you don't have to know what you're doing. And I just mean that, right, to say that you can experiment, you can try new things, you can see what works for you, you can find your own leadership style, as well as finding the groups that are important to you.
The Common Ground Multiculturalism group did not survive COVID, but the vision it embodied is still very much alive. After talking to Hunter and Julia, it is clear that there are ideas and leaders within the community that are thriving. The revival of the group is dependent on a new generation of leaders ready to pick up the gauntlet, and those leaders are here. For the North Star, I'm Rowan Hurd.
Hello, I'm Anna Ruth. Thank you, Rowan, for illustrating your experience with the Multiculturalism Department. I was hoping to ask you some questions to further flesh out your story.
Absolutely.
After speaking with Hunter, do you think Keene State will bring back the Common Ground group or another club similar next semester?
Well, to be honest, that remains unclear. I think the spirit of what the Common Ground group set out to do is still very much alive, so I think leadership will come in other forms, but it is too early to say if the group will actually return.
So right now, is there a place on campus where students can speak openly about being a minority student at Keene State without facing judgment from others?
Yes and no. My impression was that the multiculturalism and diversity as a department has more than enough resources, and they are more than willing to talk to people. When I was talking to Hunter, he actually mentioned the Global Culture Club, and they also provide students with a space to speak without judgment.
So what surprised you?
I was both surprised and delighted to find or to see how much enthusiasm and passion there is within the minority groups of Keene State College. I think leadership within those communities is very much alive and ready to grow.
Thank you for sharing that with us, Rowan.
My pleasure. There has been research done by AnswersToAll.com that found tutoring increases grades for 8 out of 10 students while raising test scores. Keene State College volunteer tutoring program, Aspire, wants to help students improve their grades. Anna Ruth reports how Aspire has helped students struggling in school and how it helps students exercise leadership through tutoring.
Grace Catalano came to Aspire as a freshman to get help with statistics.
And I ended up getting like a 98 in the class, so my teacher was like, why don't you come be a tutor? So I was like, okay. And then I worked with Christina here, and then she asked me for this upcoming year if I could be a general study skills drop-in tutor.
And she did. Now Grace helps other students get organized, literally. She teaches them organizational skills and helps them make to-do lists to keep them on track. Students like Grace who are interested in working with a tutor can either stop by the tutoring center during drop-in hours or request a one-on-one tutor. Tutoring coordinator for Aspire, Christina Carpenter, says that students can get help in every subject through drop-in tutoring and obtain organizational skills through the General Studies tutoring program.
So we changed our model a little bit this year. So we do drop-in tutoring now where you don't have to make an appointment and you just show up. And we picked our most popular class areas for that.
Popular classes that Carpenter mentioned were safety, biology, music, chemistry, economics, psychology, and Spanish. When hiring a drop-in tutor, Carpenter says she looks for someone who has a willingness to go with the flow.
It's somebody that has an interest in helping their peers, right? If that's a driving motivator, I think that's something that makes a tutor want to, continue and stick with us and help lots of students. So that's always good. For drop-in tutoring, we look for people with a wide variety of experiences. So anybody coming in with any chemistry class question could hopefully get some information from them, for example.
Getting the information to help a student succeed is what the tutors here do. Grace Catalano has seen that success from both sides of the tutoring table. Now as a tutor herself, she says her favorite part is seeing the light bulb go off in students' heads when they understand a concept.
It's definitely really rewarding because I always knew the frustration and I suck at math. So then finally understanding psych stats, it was oh, okay, maybe I don't completely suck at math. So seeing that feeling in others and them finally getting that light bulb feeling, it's you got this, and it's I feel rewarding for them, and then it's rewarding for me.
The tutoring center is open Monday through Friday in the Elliott Center. To find out more about Aspire, you can contact aspire@keene.edu. Again, that's aspire@keene.edu. For the North Star, I'm Anna Ruth.
I'm Alex Dube, and I'm here with Anna Ruth to find out a bit more about what she learned reporting on the Aspire tutoring program at Keene State College. So, Anna, the General Studies tutor seems fairly new to the Aspire tutoring program. What did you think the purpose for having a General Studies tutoring program on top of the course-oriented tutoring was?
So when I was talking to Christina, she mentioned how organization is the key to most students' success. And I agree with her that it's just as important for students to make their deadlines as it is to understand the subject.
It sounds like the tutors at Aspire have all been in the position of needing the extra hand with their work. Do you think this plays into their impact on campus? Having students teach other students and eliminating some anxiety that having a professor tutor you might bring about?
Yes, because students now have an option to be tutored by someone who has already taken this class, and they can avoid the intimidation of talking to a professor that some students may have.
And from what you gathered during your time with these Aspire students, what did it seem like the best outcome from peer tutoring is?
When I spoke to Grace, she said it was rewarding for her to watch students succeed. I believe the best outcome from peer tutoring is that the tutors can see their students' success in real time.
Thank you, Anna, for your time.
You're welcome. The Keene State Eco-Reps are advocates for environmental awareness on campus. These students are using their leadership roles to push Keene State to being 100% green. The North Star's Alex Dube reports on how these student leaders are promoting eco-friendly lifestyle choices on campus.
The mission of the Eco-Reps is to unite the community under their One Planet Campus idea by encouraging sustainable habits. A One Planet campus looks like a campus with zero harmful waste production. The Eco-Reps do their part as leaders by encouraging things like responsible energy consumption and recycling on campus. Eco-Rep President Mara Grady says that students who want to be leaders can find a role to fill by following their passions.
That's the beauty of the Eco-Reps, is you bring to the table what you're interested in. There's no set guidelines on what we're doing for each semester. If you have an idea and you're passionate about something, you bring that to the table, you spearhead that project, and we have our support.
Keene State senior Olivia Leonardo is the vice president for the Eco-Reps. Leonardo says she wants to pass down what she learned as an Eco-Reps leader to younger members before they take charge.
Like, we have a lot of freshmen in our group, so it's kind of cool because they're going to be the ones leading it afterwards. Because I think all of the leaders right now are all seniors, so we're on our way out. So it's really awesome to be able to teach the people that are going to be leading it in the future.
Both Grady and Leonardo attributed much of their Eco-Reps successes and their ability to make such an impact to their faculty sponsor. Many on-campus organizations have a sponsor to oversee the students as they run their projects and events. Eco-Rep sponsor Lindsay Edmonds says she thinks that students who get involved on campus learn the necessary skills to become a leader both on and off campus.
They want to make a difference, whether it's climate change or local agriculture or plant-based eating. They're really, really passionate and driven, and I think that leadership on campus is really important to not only drive where Keene State goes in the future, our vision as a higher education institution, but it also is really important for students' own personal growth and development here.
Edmonds adds that environmental leaders on campus today are going to be the leaders of tomorrow.
This is a really safe space to kind of spread your wings and find what you're passionate about and learn the skills to then, take those lessons learned and apply them to the real world after college. So
the Keene State College Eco-Reps are continually seeking environmentally driven students to join their cause. For more information regarding the Eco-Reps and upcoming events, visit kscecoreps.wordpress.com. Again, that is kscecoreps.wordpress.com. Reporting for the North Star, I'm Alex Dube.
I'm Harrison Paletta, and I'm here with Alex to find out a bit more about what he learned in his reporting on this story. Alex, what is the One Planet Campus Initiative, and is it only practiced by KSC or other schools around the country?
So in the research I did on the idea, I wasn't able to find many outward statements about other schools in this idea. I did see the same idea taken in different perspectives, like some neighborhoods in the U.S. striving to be a one-planet community by reinforcing the same ideas of being environmentally conscious and practicing sustainable habits.
What steps do the Eco-Reps take in order to reach the completely sustainable campus goal?
So the eco-reps have honed their focus down to some specific methods of sustainability that also cut out a lot of extra work that may make these ideas unappealing. They recently prompted the change from the previous multifaceted recycling on campus to a single-stream recycling. There's less manual sorting that's needed for this form of recycling, and it makes it a lot more effective and efficient. They've also made a lot of suggestions to the dining commons to include vegan-friendly options more often than not. The hope with this is to eventually reduce the waste that would be produced by preparing meat-based meals, like water used in creating animal products that would otherwise be thrown away.
Can you explain more about the sense of leadership being an eco-rep comes with?
After talking to the president, VP, and the faculty sponsor for the eco-reps, the leadership that all the members have is unanimous. There's a lot of creative freedom given to all the students when they collaborate. They organize a day where the DC served vegan meal options in an effort to raise awareness of eco-friendly eating. They also just recently painted murals on the water runoff drains around campus to remind the community not to litter in or around them, and not anywhere in general. The students all act as leaders together by inspiring these environmentally conscious lifestyle choices that make a tangible impact.
Thank you for your time, Alex.
You're very welcome, Harrison. Student government is one of the most direct and high-impact ways for students to exercise leadership on campus. Harrison Paletta shows us how student government makes a difference at Keene State College.
If you're a Keene State College student who wants to be a leader on campus, student government might be for you. This is the chance to give back to Keene State through student involvement by managing a wide range of events, activities, programs, policies, and initiatives around school. Caitlin McCracken is the Keene State Student Body President. She's been a part of the student government all 4 years and has worked her way up the leadership ladder. She says student government is the best way for student leaders to make their voices heard.
One of the biggest things is like reaching out and allowing students to speak their opinion and thoughts on different issues or circumstances that are arising, and seeing more what the students want to see come forth because of those issues.
McCracken says being able to exercise leadership and use her voice has made a difference on campus. She explains why a sense of leadership is important while highlighting the steps she's taken to get involved.
I think it's allowed me to understand the impact of like a student's voice. I worked my way up in student government before I got to the position I hold now. I started out my sophomore year as the class president for the class of 2022. And then last year I was the student body VP and now obviously the president. So building up and working up to the position I am in now allowed me to further understand the leadership qualities and expectations of the roles that I was going for.
Student government touches nearly every aspect of student life. Associate Vice President of Student Engagement Jennifer Farrell says one aspect of student government is deciding how to fund student projects.
So there's Finance Committee, which is made up of the Student Assembly Treasurer and then the treasurers of each of the class. That they are the folks who are responsible for divvying out all of the student activity fee dollars. So every student pays in a portion of, the mandatory fees to the campus to student activity fees.
Student government also has committees that are in charge of policy. Farrell says student government also helps direct policy on campus.
They help and provide guidance around college policy, procedure. They help, in figuring out how to facilitate meetings, how to help them plan events and offer suggestions. They're really like sounding boards and just providing advice. It's really the students doing the work and the advisors supporting. And I serve as the overall student government advisor.
If you're a KSC student and interested in joining student government, you can visit their Facebook for more information on elections and other things at facebook.com/KSC Student Government/. Again, that's facebook.com/KSC Student Government/. I'm Harrison Paletta, and this has been a North Star presentation.
What was one thing that surprised you about student government?
I was surprised to learn how many people are a part of this organization and the number of different committees within. These include the Finance Committee, which is made up of the Student Assembly Treasurer and the treasurers of each of the class. There's a Constitution Committee, which is made up of the secretaries of each of the classes and chaired by the Secretary of the Assembly. There's a PR committee that focuses on social media and their own promos. Finally, there's an off-campus housing committee that's meant to be like a representative for students who live off campus to address their needs.
Can you explain more about how staff and faculty at Keene State College work with student government?
So, there are a variety of different ways in which the advisors help. Usually, the advisors for the new students are veterans who work to get them up to speed on how things work and how to purchase something or run a meeting. Advisors for older senior students focus on bigger picture leadership stuff that is more philosophical rather than task-orientated. In addition, they focus on helping students plan the bigger, more traditional events that we do on campus, like Pumpkin Palooza and others.
When you talked to McCracken, did you get the impression that student government allows students to express their opinion and also provides tangible results when those opinions are expressed?
So McCracken certainly gave me the impression of that. She's very connected with the community and within student government and seems to be really good at what she's doing. McCracken and the rest of her fellow student government participants have done a lot of work with big events on campus, such as the Spring Carnival and concerts.
Thank you for sharing that story with us, Harrison.
You're welcome, Rowan. That concludes today's episode of the North Star. From all of us here, I hope we shed light on how to get involved in the campus community. Thank you for tuning in today, and we hope to see you soon.